Alright, hello guys, this is the Bootie Warrior. Now, before we jump right into the game, I guess I might as well talk about my experiences at the theater recently. So the other day, I decided to go see the Flash movie with my aunt. She took us down there. Did not expect much going into the movie, but now that I've gone ahead and finished watching it, well, there are two movies I ended up seeing. I saw another movie yesterday, but let's talk about the Flash first. So the Flash is actually a decent movie. I probably won't ever watch it again, but it's kind of like pretty much exactly what I expected, like generic, mildly entertaining superhero movie. I will say though, the effects in that movie were really, really bad, and I already heard the memes about how bad the effects in The Flash were, but wow. Like, bro, I was literally sitting in the theater, my hands covering my mouth. I was like, oh my god. I can't believe how bad that looks. Like, normal particle effects is one thing, like, they look fine, but as soon as the movie tries to pull off CGI people, it is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. Arguably scarier than the game we're about to be playing today. Okay, I can't even take it, man. Wait, that is the wrong one. I can't even take it, man. There we go. And there will be spoilers. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the spoilers of the movie. Okay, so there's this part where the Flash has to save babies falling out of a hospital, which is, in and of itself, a pretty ridiculous scenario. Like, okay, God help me, I'm about to question the logic of a superhero movie. But that whole time that scene was playing out, two things occurred to me. Okay, number one, wow, those babies are scary looking. There's literally, like, PS2 graphics on those babies. I mean, come on, man. Like, did you have to use CGI for babies? I mean, I could double check, but I'm pretty sure that babies actually exist. I'm also pretty sure it's possible to have a baby hanging on a wire and shooting it in slow motion in front of a green screen. Okay, I might be wrong about that. Probably not. But yeah, I don't know why they even did CGI babies. I feel like that's an issue with a lot of Hollywood movies in general. Is they use CGI in situations where they really don't need to. And Disney does that a lot too, where they're just like, oh, let's just have a cat in CGI, even though we're not going to have it doing anything that a normal animal can't do. And it's like, wow, why do these movie budgets keep getting so out of hand? I wonder why. Maybe it's because you're overindulging in CGI when you don't fucking need it. But anyway, the second thought in my head was, okay, this is like the questioning logic part I brought up, but I don't understand how, if you're moving at the speed of light, and you're trying to prevent babies from falling to their deaths from like a 3-story skyscraper hospital or whatever, why would you touching them at supersonic speed change the momentum of the babies falling to such a degree that there wouldn't be any effect on them whatsoever? Like, they're not harmed at all by the fact that Flash is grabbing them at such incredible speed alongside the velocity that they're already falling at. Like, I'm not an expert in this, but see, in my head, like, there should probably be broken bones or the babies just fucking explode as soon as Flash touches them. Okay, I don't really understand how that works. That is like legit cartoon logic. To me, it's like 2 steps away from the meme of, oh, someone's falling to their death from a skyscraper, better get out a trampoline to completely negate the fall damage, you know? Or just get a bunch of cushions and it negates the fall damage. So one of the big gimmicks of the movie is it's pretty much ripping off Spider-Man No Way Home, which was an okay movie too. If I had to compare the two, I'd say No Way Home had a little bit more going on character-wise than The Flash did. Like, there isn't that much time spent developing the other characters in No Way Home, but, you know, like, didn't Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man have a little tiny bit of an arc where he redeems himself for failing to save Gwen in Amazing Spider-Man 2? And you can tell that, like, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is more learned, or learned? I'm not sure what the term would be, but he comes across as more wise, like a more mature version of the character we saw in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Like, you get a sense that there's, like, some real progression there. Like, yeah, they don't get developed as much as Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but, you know, it's better than what you get in The Flash. And also, they actually bother fleshing out their personalities and it's fun to see them react to the bizarre situation they're put in that movie. Like, even the villains, like Doc Ock reacting to the madness of being involved in this multiverse plot was pretty fun. But yeah, in this movie, in The Flash, pretty much the only character that really gets developed at all is the Flash himself, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. He is the main character of the movie, but, you know, if you're going to go through the trouble of putting the original Batman in there, which they don't even really explain how that happens. There's some bizarre spaghetti metaphor to try to explain it, but it doesn't really make any sense. Like basically it's fuck you because of movie. Okay, that's pretty much the reason why the original Batman is in there. And he doesn't really do anything. You don't even know much about his personality. Like, you don't learn about how he's changed from the original movies. The movie completely relies on your knowledge of him from the original Batman movies. Because otherwise, he's just this stoic character that doesn't really say much, and he's just there to punch things in the original Batman outfit, and that's it. They don't really flesh out Supergirl either. Like, I actually kind of liked Supergirl in this movie. I just wish we got more of her. Like, she seemed like she could have been fun. It's one of those things where you're just like, man, I wish we had like a whole movie with this particular character. Maybe you could do something cool with that, depending on how it's done. And I like how she's got kind of a tomboy look in The Flash. One thing that bothers me, though, maybe it's explained in external material, but they did not explain how she was captured by Soviets. And for that matter, like, isn't this movie supposed to take place in modern-ish times? Like, why is she in a USSR bunker? That's what it looks like. It's got the classic Soviet Union star symbol. Like, did these guys just miss the memo? Are they just, like, weird leftovers of the Soviet Union? And they just aren't aware that the Soviet Union collapsed? How did they even capture a kryptonite? Like, did her pod crash and they just captured the pod? Like, so many questions the movie just never answers. What were they even going to do with her? Were they just going to study her? Because it kind of looks like they were just going to let her die in that pod. And Zod, I mean, Zod's whatever. He's pretty much the same screaming goofball he was in Man of Steel. You know, there's just a bunch of just mindless action in this movie. Not really much going on character-wise, aside from the whole theme of the movie being, oh, you gotta, like, let go of the past, and don't try to correct old mistakes and shit like that we've heard 100 times in movies before. Also, I had to ask, like, what the fuck was up with, like, the evil Flash in this movie? Like, his outfit is so ridiculous. Like, was Zack Snyder involved in the making of that costume? It just looks so silly. So, I guess the other version of Flash just wanted to try to save Batman and Supergirl so hard that it somehow made him magically grow weird dark crystals on his body? Like, is that a part of his outfit? Did he, like, get... Why are his eyes glowing? There's so many, like, what moments in that movie. As far as Ezra Miller goes, I guess he was okay. My big issue with Ezra Miller's performance is... And I don't really say this is really an issue with Ezra Miller, it's more so an issue with how his character's written. But, like, I don't know if his character is supposed to be autistic or something, but when he just doesn't stop talking and he just goes on and on and on, it's just like, oh my god, kill me, dude. Okay? Shut the fuck up, I swear to god. Let's see. There's this really weird moment at the end of the movie when Evil Flash is revealed. First of all, I don't really understand how he even arrives to begin with. Like, I guess this is just one of those convoluted fucking time travel multiverse things, but isn't it implied in the movie that Dark Flash exists because Ezra Miller time traveled to where his new version of him, where his mom survived, existed, and he ended up influencing him into desperately wanting to save everyone with time travel? But then, it's the dark version of Flash created by that timeline that causes him to go to that dimension to begin with. And also, like, why would saving your mom result in a completely different person being Batman? Like, what happened to the original Batman? How can there exist, like, two different Batmans exactly? So is the movie implying there's, like, when you consider genetics, and, like, family lineage and all that. Like, how can there be two completely different Bruce Wayne families, that I presume get involved in the same kind of tragedy where a robber ends up killing Bruce's parents and then he turns into Batman, but how's it two different people depending on the dimension? Like, what? Again, it's just like, because movie. Because we need to have dumb fan service in this dumb superhero movie. Yeah, the whole ending of this movie is just really confusing because it's just the movie just blows its load all in your face. Like, oh my god, look at this nostalgia. Oh, look, it's... what's even the name of the actor? I don't remember. Christopher Reeve, I believe, is his name. Which, by the way, that effect is so bad, I can't... It literally, like, I'm not even exaggerating, it literally looks like a fucking early PS2 game, or like a PS3 game at best. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really hate Ezra Miller's performance in the movie. I thought he was okay. Okay, 0 out of a million, though. Okay, his performance was not so fucking good, it made me forget his crimes. In all seriousness, I didn't really even pay attention to the Ezra Miller controversy. Like, I think there was some allegation about grooming, and he was running from the police or something. I don't remember the specifics. I'm kind of amazed he's even allowed to be in a movie, to be honest. Just goes to show you how fucking corrupt Hollywood is, if he's as fucked up as the stories would lead you to believe. But yeah, good news is... yeah, Michael Keaton, he doesn't really have much to work with, but he slips right into the role. Again, it's just a damn shame they, like, don't really do anything with his character. This movie's, like, 3 fucking hours long, and they only develop one of the characters, really. Well, unless you count the 2 different Flashes as 2 characters, even though they're pretty much the same character. But yeah, it was cool seeing him kick ass in his, original outfit, and it's not as restrictive as it would have been back in the day. Because you rewatch the original Batman movie, and you could tell he could barely turn his neck with that costume. And I'm sure he had fun making it and being in the role again. Although it was really weird how he started off as like a bearded man, and then the movie, like, he just randomly loses his facial hair for no reason. Again, like, because nostalgia. Like, oh, this is what he looked like in the original movie, so we're not gonna explain why he decided to shave his facial hair, but there you go. The humor was okay. It was... I guess it was about as... there were like a couple moments that were sort of funny, but nothing laugh-out-loud funny. The Zack Snyder version of Batman's in the movie for a very small amount of time. I really wish... I actually kind of like that Batman, to be honest. Like, I wish they would have a movie dedicated to him instead. It's like DC cannot make up their fucking minds about what kind of characters they want to have. It's like every new DC movie, it's like, okay, are we sticking to Zack Snyder's version, or are we sticking to... Like, what about the Batman? Like, is he gonna be involved in the multiverse stuff? Or not multiverse, but like cinematic universe stuff? I mean, I guess they could slip him into the multiverse as well. And speaking of multiverse, I'm sure this has been said plenty of times before, but I think it's already overdone. Like, it's a decent idea to have, like, fun fan service, but, I don't know, the novelty wears off fast. I feel like it's kind of a big issue with Hollywood in general. I was thinking about this the other day, where, we're so... like, Hollywood is so attached to the past that there's not really that many movies that can stand on their own 2 feet nowadays, at least not in the mainstream. Like, you have to dig to find really good movies nowadays. That's how it feels like. Where's the Orson Welles of this generation, you know what I mean? Where's the Alfred Hitchcocks? Like, I can't even really think of any particularly noteworthy actors that are, like, specific to this generation, that aren't just holdovers from previous filming generations. But, you know, there's a little bit of a silver lining to all this. There were some fun trailers playing before The Flash. Looks like there's a decent amount of good movies coming up. First of all, we've got Barbie, okay? #1 film of the year, to be sure. In all seriousness, I want to see that movie, just ironically. And it kind of seems like the movie's made in that vein. Like, the trailer literally said, like, if you hate Barbie, this is the movie for you, or some shit like that. And, like, the movie has this self-aware, like, Barbie's entering the real world type of scenario, which isn't original, but, you know, if it's done well, it can be very funny. I want to do the meme where me and the boys just walk over to the theater to see Barbie and buy tickets in like a elaborate suit, you know what I mean? Collar shirt and all. And I think it was called The Last Voyage or something, I don't remember, but there's this trailer for a Dracula movie that takes place, I presume, on a boat, which seems to be based off of that moment in the Dracula novel where Dracula gets moved from, I think, Transylvania to some other country. I can't remember the name. You know, that house he tried to buy earlier in the novel, which could be fun. I love, like, deep-sea themed type movies, and the idea of being trapped on a boat with any monster is pretty scary. And it seems to be time period appropriate as well, so it could be fun. Like, those are a couple of the movies coming up before long that I want to see. I also heard, what was it called? The Last Freedom? The Sound of Freedom? That movie's about sex trafficking, though, as far as I know. So that might be kind of hard to watch, but I've heard it's actually a pretty good movie. But anyway, I did see another movie yesterday. So the day before yesterday, I saw The Flash, and then yesterday, I noticed they were doing the Studio Ghibli Festival again, which I actually went to a few years ago. I believe I even talked about it on camera. But I saw Valley of the Wind. What was the... I keep forgetting. Nashka of the Valley of the Wind. I think that's how you pronounce that. But they had, like, English subversions of the movie. And it was pretty good, actually. I quite enjoyed myself. I'm kind of using the Ghibli Festival as an opportunity to watch all of them, because I figure... Because, like, I've only seen, like, a couple of the movies, and I figure, you know, if I'm gonna watch a Ghibli movie, I might as well watch it while they're in theaters, you know? I really love it when my local theater does that. It doesn't do it too often. But I love it when they play, like, old-school movies. Because it's... In a way, it's like a way for me to capture the childhood I never had, you know? Because obviously these movies were long before my time. But yeah, beautiful animation, pretty good storyline. It reminded me a lot of Princess Mononoke, actually. But my favorite thing about Valley of the Wind was just the creative world they created. It's very imaginative, the Ghibli films. And it's cool to see a movie with, like, a completely different world every now and then. It's like, oh yeah, that's the point of a movie, isn't it? Okay, using our imagination instead of just making the most generic shit ever. And it's cool to see, like, a foreign film in an American theater, so. They do have dub versions of the Ghibli movies. I think they play them back-to-back, where, like, you could watch the dub version or the subbed version. But when I'm watching a foreign movie, it just pulls me out of it when I'm listening to a dub. Like, yeah, I guess if I had no choice, I'd rather watch a dub, and from what I understand, Ghibli dubs are usually okay. Like, I don't think they're, like, known for being comically bad, but for me, even if it's a good dub, usually it just breaks my immersion if, they're speaking English. Because I know in the back of my mind, obviously, it's a Japanese movie, and it's especially distracting when they're, like, in a clearly Japanese setting. That's why I can't really watch dubbed anime. On top of the fact that they tend to be written in such a cringy way. Like, sometimes they'll use honorifics in dubbed anime. Like, they're saying, like, hey, Jack... Like, they'll unironically say, like, Chan or Sama, even though it's in English and it wouldn't make fucking sense in English. Like, it's a specifically Japanese thing to use honorifics. Oh, it's so cringe. Or sometimes they'll say Desu. Like, thankfully, I think that's a practice that's mostly abandoned, because most of the time people that make English dubs now, like, recognize how fucking cringy and stupid it is. From what I understand, I haven't really paid too much attention to anime nowadays, but I see a controversy where, that's why I don't watch anime dubbed, same. Apparently, it's kind of a... See, like, the main issue with dubs nowadays, from what I hear, is, there's, like, certain translators that are, let's say, ideologically driven, and they, like, change the dialogue to an insane degree to, like, fit a certain... Like, they'll throw in terms like mansplaining in the script of the English dub, and I have seen, like, some footage of animes doing that. Or they'll, like, make references to Me Too, I think. Ugh, it's so disgusting. When, like, you know, the original Japanese dialogue is nothing like that. I think there's even like some anime dubs that like that like mention privilege or something. But anyway, I think that's about it for then. I'm gonna jump right into the game. Ah, yes, those translations. You know, I remember the Higurashi anime dub being pretty fucking bad. Like the original anime dub. Now, imagine how much worse it would have been if it was made today. Because now on top of goofy acting, you gotta put up with that shit.